Oh, yeah. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts some days, but everything gon' be alright. Go raise a glass and say, here's to the ones that we got, oh. Cheers to the wish you were here but you're not, cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today, toast to the ones that we lost on the way, cause the drinks bring back all the memories. Memories bring back you.
Oh, me lads, you should have seen them running. Asked them why and they replied the Bolton boys are coming. All the lads and lasses, smiles upon their faces, walking down the Marnie Road to see the burning Hastings.
Before we go any further tonight, we've got a couple of shout outs. Got one for Craig Miggy Morris, 9 year since he passed away. And I'd like to send all our love and condolences to Kerry and her family. And also, while we're talking on this microphone tonight, the reason is the man on the screen there. Like a brother to me and a lot more lads. One of the nicest fellas you'll ever meet. Absolute, the driest sense of humour. It's even worse than Aegis, but absolutely just diamond legend of a man, and I love you to bits, mates. As I say, and that's why he's here tonight. So, love to Linda, Nicola, and Danny, Elaine, and all the family. And we think about you. Well, I think about you daily, and I'm sure a lot of other lads do. I love you, mate. You sleep tight. Okay. Let's get on with the show. We'll start off with tonight's sponsors, and we'll bring in the Twigster. Here you go.
Hi guys, welcome to tonight's stream, another one with Jeff Chandler. Just before we go on to the sponsors, just my own little tribute to obviously Alan. This group's what he's all about. And my mate the Bigster. Me and him were the deadly duo together when we just joked about everything. Miss him so much, it's unbelievable. Tonight's sponsors for the stream is the Furry Team, which is they've on a competition site on Facebook. Some fabulous prizes on offer. So give them a visit and hit the old like button. Yeah, but they've got some great stuff there, and they raise a lot of money for charity. Charities nationwide. Great stuff what they do. So thanks for them for the sponsor. Again, if anybody wants to sponsor any of the streams, give us a shout. So back over to Al.
James, thank you. Just a thing on John McGovern. If anybody's got any pictures or footage or anything like that, can they send it to me for the stream next week? We're looking for somebody actually to join the live stream team who's pretty genned up on footage and pictures. I've got Mr. Mason and Mr. Bramwood helping me, but the more the merrier. Okay, we've got Twigster the Quizster in, so let's welcome my sidekick all the way up Astley Bridge, Mr. Haig. How are you, Stevie?
Yeah, hi Alan, hi Twiggy. Hi everybody. Thanks to Jeff for coming on again. I just want to say our condolences to Miggy's family and to Alan Packer's family. Obviously, this is one of the main reasons why we're here on our remembrance group. I can see a good night ahead with a good few questions and some good storytelling here from Jeff and the rest of the lads. Cheers, lads.
Brilliant, top man. Right, and we've got a young man out now. He's not been so well. He's making a comeback. He's also available for bookings for his Johnny Vegas tribute show. So welcome, Mr. Darren Mansfield. All right, Johnny.
Yeah, everybody knows why we're here, obviously, for the remembrance group. Condolences to the families. And you're in for a good night with Mr. Chandler.
Superb. Well done, pal. Right, we got a young lad now. We've been having a little bit of practice. 5 minutes to go on. He's put his gel on. He's put his perfume on. He's slicked his hair back. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kelby making.
Oh, sorry. Are we on? Evening, gents. Evening, Jeff. Thanks for coming on again. Looking forward to a good night. Just caught me at middle there, lads.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, by the way, on your announcement this week that you're expecting another little boy.
Yeah, another little wanderer coming into the team.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Congratulations, buddy. Speaking of teams, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's guest, Mr. Jeff Chandler. Hi, Jeff.
How are you, everybody? Great to be back.
Everybody's been asking you if it come back on because they basically said, "Oh, that first stream were crap." So I thought, right, I'll show you. But Jeff Stelling's got nothing on me now. I'm telling you. So we're going to start your little show. First of all, from all the group, all the Wanderers lads and lasses, thank you ever so much for donating that shirt, mate. What a gesture. Thank you, pal.
Brilliant. Superb.
Yeah, no problem. It's a little story from it. I gave that shirt to some good friends of mine, Stuart and Joan, who used to come to every game when I was at Bolton. And I lived with them for a short time when I was at Leeds. And I gave him that shirt at the end of the 81-82 season. when obviously I became aware of the group and you invited me to come on, etc. And then, you know, being an ambassador and got involved, I happened to say to him on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, whatever happened to my shirt that I give you? And he said, oh, it's still in the drawer 39 years later. When I said to him, you know, I was part of the group and he knows about it now and he'll be listening probably tonight. I said, what about giving the shirt back to me and I can donate it, you know, to raise some money for the remembrance group. And no problem, he gave me straight away. I picked it up, like I say, yesterday. We got it back 39 years later.
Well, we can't thank you enough, and thank you to the gentleman who you throttled against the wall to get it back for us. We fully appreciate that.
So the first one is when we used to go on holiday down to a place called the Isle of Sheppey, Laysdown, and we stayed on the old campsite there. You know, and we used to go in all like in the old days. You went away in families. There was like about 6 or 7 families that used to go, and they used to have kids competitions at the end of the night. You know, and dressing up and all that for the little kiddies, and that was just taken, I think, after the band had been on, just at the stage with me bottle of Mackerson. I think the other ones when I was about 5, when I started at primary school, little cheeky chappy, and as you can see, the next one is on the campsite when I was a little bit older, when I started to kick a ball about and I was trying to balance it on my foot and my mum managed to catch it on camera. And then there's one of me and my mum and my mate, and I just put that one in because I wanted to prove I had a perm before Kevin Keegan. You know, I think people thought that I copied him, but he copied me. So
I'll tell you what, that second picture, you look like Gary Henshaw's double on that second picture. We've got a picture of him.
Good old few
and then we
years ago,
started football. So what about them two?
Oh, these.
Yeah.
The one with the gold kit on. That's me in my first school team in secondary school when I'd have been about 11 there, maybe 12. And I'm the one holding the ball at the back. And the guy stood next to me is Dave Johnson, Harry Johnson, who picked the FA Cup up for Blackpool. That's his son. He was my school teacher, the games teacher at school. So yeah, and in the front row, right in the centre, in the front row, is a lad called Phil Daniels who was in Quadrophenia.
Oh yeah,
the film. Yeah. Phil, he was in my class at school and in the same school team. He wasn't a bad footballer actually. Sang Part Life with Blur. He's a big Chelsea fan. I spoke to him about 12 months ago through, I think it was something like Instagram or one of them media things. He's still okay living in London.
Brilliant. He was in Scum as well, weren't he?
Yeah. That was his first film, I think, Scum. But it's funny, we all used to laugh at him at school when we were in class. Like, we used to be going off training with our youth clubs and what have you, after school. And Phil used to be going to drama lessons. So you can imagine the stick he got from all of us lot in the team. And yet, look what he went and done. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
And what's the other picture?
The other picture is that's me, the youth club I used to play for. That's White City Youth Club, which is the estate right across the road from QPR's ground. You might have seen it if you've been down Loftus Road.
Yeah,
All the flats dead opposite. Yeah, that's White City, and that's the youth club, I think. But I'm the one on the left at the back with the tracksuit bottoms on, because I think I might have been subbed for that game, because these were all like 15-year-olds in that, and I think I was about 13.
Yeah.
So that was why I accepted being sub. I think they were all bigger than me.
Yeah. Now we'll start with your clubs and your stats. We'll start off at Blackpool. 37 appearances, 7 goals, 1976 to 1979.
Yeah. Good memories of Blackpool. Like I say, my first club. I came up from London, had done an apprenticeship for 12 months. You meant to do 2 years, but Alan Brown came as manager after Harry Potts. So I went and knocked on his door and said, I don't like doing the jobs, cleaning boots and all that, gaffer. So I'm good enough to be a pro, I think. What do you think? And he sent me away for a fortnight and then called me back in, and he said, I've got good words about you. You look good in training. You can sign pro. So I did. But what I didn't realise was, in them days, when you're an apprentice, all your digs were paid by the club, and you just got I think it was about £9 a week, to spend.
Yeah.
When you signed pro, you paid your own digs. I was worse off. I had less money signing pro than I did as an apprentice, because I had to pay my own digs. Wow. But it's funny that there's a lad in that picture who joined us shortly after this picture. It's Davy Wagstaff. He came to the club, Waggy, and he was an old pro. He'd done a lot of, you'll have heard about Waggy at Wolves, a great player. They say the best winger never to play for England. But a funny story with Waggy, I always seemed to get on well with the older lads. I think they liked it because I was a bit cheeky in that. So when we were in the first team together, I roomed with Waggy.
It was your school teacher that got you to Blackpool, who from the first picture in the where they were in gold. Is that right?
Yeah.
Jeff?
2 of the lads in the team said to me, "We're going to Blackpool for a trial." So again, being a bit cheeky, I went and knocked on the school teacher's door and said, why are they going to Blackpool? I'm better than them. I should be going to Blackpool, surely. So he said, well, you're training at QPR. I said, yeah, but if they're going to Blackpool, I should be going because I'm better than them. So anyway, he managed to speak to Jackie Wright, the chief scout at Blackpool, and they got me up on the same train as the lads, and I came up. We did the trial, and Blackpool signed me schoolboy forms from that trial, and the other two mates didn't make it, So, he did a lot for me, Dave Johnson, doing that, because who knows what would have happened if I hadn't knocked on his door and he hadn't got me in, big help. Yeah. And he lived in Blackpool for quite some time after he retired.
You played against Bolton for Blackpool in the year that you got relegated, didn't you? Do you remember that? Yeah,
I remember the game at Burnden. We lost 2-1, I think.
Yeah, well, I've got a few highlights for you. Got a few highlights for you.
All right. Low lights.
And now can try again. Walsh doesn't charge him off it. And the goalkeeper can make it and lead the score. Esford, when he came for the punch, doesn't at the moment carry a lot of weight. And he's in trouble in these situations. Beautiful goal by Jones. Here he is to go now. And he scored 2-1. And so the penalty puts Blackpool back in the game. Allardyce didn't make a very good header. And there was a good save by McDonough from Chandler.
Well, Stan Turnip was the manager at Blackpool. He'd just taken over from Bob Stokoe, and I was going to play for the Republic of Ireland under 21s because through a conversation with Stan, he established that my parents or my mum was Irish, so he phoned them up and let them know. They then picked me for the under 21s, and I was going over to play my first game. And just before I was leaving, Stan called me in because my contract was up at Blackpool. And he said, Dave Blakely, the chief scout at Leeds, is watching you tomorrow night in Ireland. So if you want to go to Leeds, you need to perform, you know. So I went over to Dublin, and in fairness, I played really well. We played against Poland. I played really well. And Dave Blakely was waiting outside the players' entrance. And he pulled me as I came out and said, Leeds want to sign you. Can you be at Ellen Road on Friday morning? So I was, you know, I knew they were watching me, but I didn't expect things to happen that quick. But obviously, as you can imagine, you know, you watch Leeds as a kid and all that. So on that Friday morning, I went over to Ellen Road. Obviously, no agent. I had my mate Stuart, who was a painter and decorator with me, who I give the football shirt to that you've got. He was driving me over in his minivan, and I signed for Leeds on that Friday.
Brilliant. There's a few pictures there of your time at Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I enjoyed my time at Leeds, and I'm just sorry, really, that you know, Alan Clark came. The guy was just hard to get on with. He was arrogant. You couldn't talk to him. You know, he was hard work. And after I went to see him once, and he told me to F off until I'd done what he'd done in the game. That was my first conversation with him after he came.
Wow.
He never spoke to me. He never spoke to me again, really. I used to travel over with Brian Greenough and Brian Flynn because I lived near Preston. And he used to say, morning, Brian, and he never said a word to me. So I used to wind him up like and just say, oh, morning, Jeff. How are you doing today? Yeah, brilliant. Are you playing Saturday? No. You know, which didn't really help the situation. But, you know, the writing was on the wall for me, really. I mean, he did pick me a few times after that. But the thing with Alan Clark was, and what people sometimes outside of the game don't know, is he never spoke to me for 3 months. And then we go down to Tottenham, and I'm in the 13-man squad because they used to take 13. It was only one sub in them days. Then they took one extra just in case someone went downhill. But I'm in the 13 thinking, well, I'm not going to be involved. Like, he ain't spoke to me for 3 months. And we sat in the dressing room an hour before the game. He names a team, and I'm in the team. He never even said, and he never said a word, you know, which it made it difficult. And I knew the writing was on the wall, you know, that I was going to be going. But it's a shame, really, because the games I did play there, I played well. You know, I played well, and I held my own at that level.
Yeah, and you were capped a few times as well while you were there, weren't you?
Yeah, the caps that I got, that you've got on there for Republic. The one of them actually is the under 21. The other green one is 2 full caps, and the gold one is a do they had back in, I think it was about 2009 in Dublin. They invited every living player that had played for the Republic and presented them with a gold cap.
Made 157 and 36 goals, and you said it were George Mulhall that signed you, didn't you?
Yeah, I got on well with George, and I think, you know, because he was a winger, he liked the thought of me playing wide. And as I said, it was George who played me wide as a proper winger for the first time, really, as I'd played midfield before that. And I enjoyed it. I played on the right when I first came. My first game against Leicester, I played on the right side. But I think Chris Thompson, a couple of games later, got in the team, and George felt that I could play better on the left than Chris, so he swapped me across, put Chris Thompson on the right wing, and that's where I stayed. I didn't move after that, you know. And it's funny, but that's how things happen in the game. I'd never played left wing before, but it suited me, really, coming back in on my right foot to cross, you know.
Yeah,
it was quite successful.
Yeah, Trevor Morgan was saying, and JT, they always knew as soon as you got ball where to be. Like they knew exactly where the ball were going to come to, you know, which is good, isn't it? You know.
Well, I think when you get wingers who were sort of played in the sort of style I did, what they tried to do, Peter Beagrie was one, that they try and beat the fullback 7 times before they cross it. When you're doing that, you centre forward, and your other forwards and midfield players coming in don't have a clue where the ball's going and when it's coming. But what I tended to do, I'd go down the line, go to cross it with my left, pull it back onto my right foot and bang straight in. And if you did that and you did that regularly, like Trev said, they get to know what's happening and they know when to make their runs. They never made the run when I was going down on my left side, although I did cross an odd one with me left, but not very often. They knew I was coming back and to stink it in with me right.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely superb. Right. So moving on, there you are with old Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie, good character. I remember watching Charlie when he played for Charlton Athletic at QPR. He was in goal, and I was stood behind the goal, and he was a bit of a character, Charlie. He used to have a bit of a crack with the crowd, you know, when the ball was up the other end. And I remember someone flicking a fag on the pitch and Charlie picking it up and having a drag, like, you know. Good character, Charlie. He was a passionate man, you know. He was all right, Charlie.
Yeah, and Amanda, you think a lot of I know you respect the man, and he's still a very good friend of yours, John McGovern.
Yeah, I you know, I think in football sometimes, like I said a little bit earlier with Alan Clark's, they don't take the time to talk to you. They're a bit arrogant. They think they're above you. And the thing with John was he took the time with me to talk about football, to let me be myself. You know, he didn't mind if I had a drink. He knew I liked going out after games and stuff. I used to drink with him at his house sometimes after games. I used to have an odd fag with him. And it was funny that he just accepted that as part of who I was. And I'm sure under Brian Clough, there was players in the team like, you know, your Larry Lloyds who smoked, and he just let them do it because as long as you perform on the field, that's all that matters. And unfortunately, you know, quite a few other managers that I had were a bit sergeant majorish, and they either didn't like, as far as Bob Stokoe, you know, and I love Bob, he didn't like how I dressed. He didn't like what shoes I wore. What that had to do with anything, I don't know. You know, and others didn't like that I liked to drink. Others didn't like that I smoked. But if you perform, what's that got to do with it?
Nothing.
You know, a lot of players did
nothing
smoke
at
back
all
in those days.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember, I mean, the bottom right one, as I'm looking at it, is where there's a lady in the background holding her head. I think she thinks I'm going to miss, but that was against Newport, that, and I'd run from the halfway line and went round the keeper and put it in. And I remember that like it was yesterday. And as the other one, you know, above it, the Wigan goal away from home, I scored a header at Wigan. I think it was Boxing Day. We won 1-0. And it's funny when you look at pictures like that, how the good memories come back and, you know, the buzz of playing football.
Yeah, me and Steve were talking about it this afternoon about Kami rang me up this morning and said, you know what, you've rekindled you and the lads have rekindled my love for football. He said you brought back so many memories. And when I just show you that photo with her and you say, oh yeah, that were against Newport, it's amazing, isn't it? How you still hold them memories.
It is, because I mean, even my wife has, you know, she's noticed, because I went through a stage when I finished playing. When I finished playing, I'd fell out of love with football. I'd had a lot of injuries. I wasn't playing, you know, I wasn't really training. It was treatment and doing weight training, you know, getting nothing out of it really. And that's why I retired. And for years, I never used to talk to, you know, apart from the friends I had who knew I was a footballer. When I got into normal work that I've done for the last 30 years, I never used to say to people, oh yeah, I played football. I never mentioned it. And this being involved in this, you know, you have a bit of banter on Facebook and all that, and you're looking for results again. You know, I mean, I've always looked for the teams I play, but I always look for results. But yeah, you get that buzz again that you're back involved a little bit, you know, because when you come out and that's all you've known, it's hard to be in a normal life. And then you're in a normal life for 30 years and you get guys like yourselves, saying, "Oh, legend, this," or and fans think this of you, and it's hard to accept because you've been out of it so long. You're a normal. We were always normal guys, but you're just normal, and you played football. Now you're normal and don't.
Yeah, exactly. But you're an avid supporter at group. You're always commenting on people, and people are talking back to you. I mean, I told you a story this morning. I had a guy who contacted me on Friday night, and he was in tears that I'd sorted him out with a shirt for you. And I'll let you tell the rest of the story because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, a guy. It was a guy called Rob Marsden. He just put a message on Messenger, just to say, Jeff, my name's Rob Marsden. You were my hero at Bolton Wanderers from being a young boy, and growing up, got married and had a son, and we called him after you. We called him Chandler, and it's his 21st birthday in November this year. And he said, I wondered if I managed to get a shirt or some memorabilia, if you would sign it for us if I sent it to you. So, obviously I messaged him back and said, thanks very much. I feel honoured that you've done, name your son after me. And I'm glad that you had some enjoyment out of me playing football. But if you've got anything you need me to do or want me to do, sign anything, you're quite welcome to come over to my place and have a cup of tea and a brew or whatever and have a chat. It'd be nice to meet you.
Well, that's superb gesture off you.
Yeah.
And then you... then it's like a kind of double-barreled thing, this. You signed for Derby, and what were your feelings about leaving Bolton? Because you were playing well. You were playing well. The fans like you. And what happened there?
Well, to be honest, I think it was, and I've mentioned to you before, we went through a tough time financially when John McGovern came, and times were hard for the football club, for John bringing players in, trying to sign anybody. The wages that we were on weren't brilliant, and I think my contract was about 2.5 years. I think that I'd signed when I came to Bolton. It might have been 3 years, I think it was, and my contract was coming to an end. I'd been on more or less the same money for those 3 years, and I'd scored, I think, 17 one season, then 20 my last season. And I talked to the club about, contracts and money. And I think Charlie was manager at the time. And he said, all we can offer you is a tenner. Which, I said to him, well, in all fairness, Charlie, I think I'm worth more than that,
Yeah.
And we didn't fall out. The only thing I wasn't happy with was when it came about that I eventually, Derby approached the club for me, etc., and it went to arbitration. And in fairness, Bolton only got 38 grand for me, which was an absolute joke. They should have been getting 150 because of the goals I scored as a winger. There weren't many that scored that amount of goals. And I think the club, I don't know if it was Charlie or the club, put in the paper in Bolton that that I'd been offered. They made me a fantastic offer, the best that they've offered anybody. Now, whether it was the tenner that was the best they've ever offered anybody, I don't know, but it was just the way it was at the time, and I just felt I wasn't being valued enough by the club to keep me. It wouldn't have took a large amount of money to keep me because, like you say, the fans like me. I was happy there. I had a house in Bolton. So we just had a child, the year before. She was 9 months old. So there wasn't any real reason for me to up sticks and go.
Absolutely not.
I was put in a position where, clubs have to make a stand, I suppose. And they just said to me, well, that's what we're offering you. It's up to you. And I said, well, my contract's up. So we're into the summer. I won't be signing the contract as we stand.
That's fine.
Yeah. And like I said, we didn't want you to go. You didn't want to go. But at the end of the day, you've got to, it's all about, getting money in bank for your kids' education and, looking after number one, basically, isn't it? I mean, if somebody offered me a job when I was driving and offered me more money, I'd go, so.
Well, yeah, it is partly about that, Al. But I think you know, you learn as you get older as well, don't you? You know, that sometimes you're better off with what you know than doing something else. But I have to say, you know, I went to Derby and I had 2 years there. The first year was a real good year for me. I think I played in most of the league games. I think I played 37 out of 46 and scored 9 goals in the league. And I think I scored another 6 or 7 in the cups and played in all those games. So, and we got promotion, you know.
Yeah.
Then,
Well,
then we
I've actually got a bit of footage of that for you.
right.
Just bring back a few memories.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. Cause the drinks bring back all memories of everything we've been through.
Scythed him down. In everything but geography, it was a penalty. Dungworth was off, and watch now as Derby win the penalty when Chandler's manhandled in the wall. A brutally harsh decision by the referee. The infringement happened before the ball was in play, but it was poetic justice. Demanded that the team and the management be brought back onto the pitch, and we saw Cox like we'd never seen him before.
So a few memories there for you, yeah?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it was a good night, that. Yeah, it was a good night.
And then moved to Mansfield. How come you? I know you said you played most of your first season with Derby, and then did it all go downhill there? Is that how the move to Mansfield come about?
It did. It didn't go downhill so much as I think I kicked it downhill as normal. I started the season in the team at Derby, and I think I played the first 8 or 9 games. I scored 1 goal. I didn't perform that well, to be fair. And Arthur called me in and just said, "I'm going to play you away at home in the home games, but not away from home." So, and that was because he wanted to be a bit more defensive and solid away from home. So I turned around and said to him, "Well, if you're not going to play me away, I'm not playing at home," which was a bit of a silly thing to say with Arthur because he said, "Well, you just played your last game for Derby then."
Wow.
And I never played again. And that's when I ended up going to Mansfield on loan for six games. I think I went there for a month because I was playing in the reserves at Derby. Even though I was playing well, you know, I went back in to see Arthur and said, "Look, Gaffer, I'm sorry for what I said. I didn't mean it. I want another chance. I'm playing well in the reserves." And he just said, "Listen, you made your decision on the day you said you didn't want to play for the football club. And that's the end of it. You ain't going to play." So
were he like a sergeant major type, were he, Cox?
He was, yeah, he was. He was very hard. It's funny actually, because when I first joined him, at the same time, I think Ross McLaren, Mark Wallington and Steve McLaren joined. We all joined at the same time. And if you remember, John Robertson, the Forest winger, he was at Derby at the time, and I was being brought in to replace John. So I joined the club, you know, and John's there, and we do pre-season. We're at a golf course where we're running round. Arthur used to have us running around this golf course, and of course I was right at I hated long distance running. I'm right at the back with Mark Wallington and John Robertson. So we're halfway round, and Robbo's saying, "Oh, I hate this bleeding running," like, you know, and I'm going, "So do I, John," like, you know. And Mark Wallington's breathing out of his backside because he's about 16 stone. And John Robinson pulls a fag out of his sock and a lighter and sparks a fag up. So the next thing, Arthur Cox used to hide in the bushes around this golf course. And obviously he always waited for the last ones, you know. And he sees John doing this and he's screaming from the bushes, get you running, you bleeding," like, you know. So John throws the fag. We start running again. Anyway, we got back to the finish line. And Arthur says, "Where's Mark Wallington?" So I says, "Well, I don't know, Gaffer. You said get running." So we left him. So anyway, we drove back to the baseball ground because we got changed there. And we get in the dressing room. Anyway, Mark Wallington still hasn't appeared. About an hour and a half later, Mark Wallington walks into the dressing room. And Coxie goes, "Where the bleeding hell you think you've been? What you been doing?" Like, and we said, "Well, when you shouted to get running, them two left me, Gaffer. He said, and I was really struggling. And this lady, because we were running around a golf course, he said, this lady was at the end of her garden. And she called me because she saw I was really struggling and said, hey, love, are you all right? Do you want a cup of tea? He said, so I climbed over a garden wall. He said, and I sat and had a lovely cup of tea with her. He said, and that's why I'm an hour and a half late. He said she's a Derby fan. So Coxie was going mad, but that, you know, that's what it was like. You know, he was like that, Arthur. You'd go out, win a game, I'd play really well, and he would pick one thing in the game that I didn't do right and have a go at me. Although I think deep down he liked me because he knew I had a lot of ability.
Yeah. And who signed you for Mansfield?
Well, it was only on loan. It was Ian Greaves.
Was it?
You know, yeah, it was Ian Greaves. He obviously knew me from when I was at Blackpool and that, because I think Bolton were interested in signing me from Blackpool. Reedy told me they were looking at me at one time, Bolton, and Ian called me and he said, you know, I've spoke to Arthur Cox. Do you fancy coming up to Mansfield for a month on loan? We need someone to play wide, you know. So anyway, I went up there and I played 6 games. And I think one of them was in the, you know, the old Freight Rover that we won.
Yeah.
One of them was in I think it was something like the quarter final of that away at Rotherham, and I scored the winner, belting 30-yarder in the top corner. And they actually went on and played at Wembley, Mansfield. But
wow,
Ian Greaves was absolute. He was brilliant. Ian Greaves, what a great manager. You know, he was another one. He knew lots about you. He knew I liked a cigarette and all that. And after the game, you'd be in the dressing room, you know, and he'd say, hey, if you want a fag, have a fag. The game's finished. We can't do that about it. Which was, you know, you're going back a long time, but that was the sort of guy he was, that he trusted to treat you like an adult. You have to look after yourself, do the right things, but go out there and perform for me. And, you know, he was a fantastic manager at Bolton and a lovely, lovely man.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. He's still held in I regard as Ian Greaves.
Well, they've named a stand after him, haven't they, at Mansfield?
Have they really?
Yeah, they've named it. There's an Ian Greaves stand at Mansfield, yeah.
That's brilliant. Bolton come a knocking then. Was it Phil Neal?
It was, funny enough, it was Alf Davis who phoned me. And I don't know whether it was Alf's influence, you know, upstairs in the boardroom where he knew that my contract at Derby was up and sort of said, look, you know, why don't you try and get Jeff back here? Or because me and Phil didn't get on that well, and I don't know whether I was his choice, to be honest with you. I don't know that for a fact, but it was Alf who phoned me initially to ask me if I'd be interested in coming.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that about Phil, because Gary Henshaw mentioned something about it. It seems like it was a bit of. I mean, we're lucky now hearing about this, but at the time we hadn't got a clue. But it seemed like a bit of an awkward character, Phil Neal.
He could be very arrogant, you know. But to be fair, Al, I think, you know, when I talk about managers that I've had, including, you know, Alan Clark, Phil Neal, Arthur Cox, all of them, whatever I say about them is only my opinion, you know, because I might not have got on with Phil Neal, there was plenty of players in the dressing room who did. And circumstances around why you don't get on with people aren't always out in the public arena, you know. And what I would say is, after I'd fell out with him, I don't think my behaviour was brilliant, to be fair, you know, because I was injured and I was out for a long time.
Yeah.
And you know, it was very frustrating training or trying to rehabilitate, get back. Did I work hard enough? Probably not. I thought I was ready before he did, so we fell out a bit about that. And I'm not saying I was right, he was right. It's one of those things that happens in football.
Yeah,
you know?
just clashed.
And then when eventually I did get back, which was the Colchester game, I think I came on as sub. I think it was around about May time. second to last game of the season. I think the last game was at Wrexham, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Sav scored.
Yeah.
But I played, I came on as sub for the last 10 or 15 minutes of that game against Colchester and scored.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I thought I would have been in the 12 as in maybe sub for the game at Wrexham. But for some reason, he never really spoke to me after the game. He didn't say well done. You've come back after 9 months. You scored a goal. All the lads were dead happy for me.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I never got that from him. And then we get to the Friday where he names the squad for the Wrexham game, and I wasn't in the squad, let alone the 12. And I think I spat me dummy out, to be fair, and I said, well, you can stick it. I'm not coming. So I didn't travel, which I regret now, because I should have gone to support the lads, really. That would have been the right thing to do. But I used to make decisions like that as it was a common thing through my career with your Arthur Coxes and stuff, that I would do and say things on the spur of the moment, because I was like, oh, footballers are like kids. We like at school. If it ain't going for you, you spit your dummy out, and you want to cause a bit of trouble. And
yeah,
it's not right. But looking back, that's how it was. And I wish I'd have known, had the head I've got now back then. It's because it'd have been a lot different.
Everything's in hindsight. But I mean, like I say, I think you've been a little bit hard on yourself, because to be honest with you, a couple of players have said exactly the same thing. But as you say, it's horses for courses, and somebody's shite another man's treasure, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. Because you'll have John McGovern on next week, and John will talk very highly of me next week. I know he will, because he thought I was a good player. Now, if you had Phil Neal on next week, he would turn around and say I was a bad professional. Now, I'd accept that, because I can't say he was wrong looking back, but you only ever hear one side of a story. And that's why I'm trying to be fair to Phil. He picked me for Wembley. He didn't need to. He could have really stuck the knife in by not picking me for the Wembley game, but he didn't. He let go what had gone and picked me. So I have to admire the guy for that. But we didn't get on that well, and if I saw him, I'd say hello. I have nothing against the guy. It's just one of those things.
Of course, yeah. I totally get that. Right, I'm going to play a few highlights now. So see if any of these jog your memory.
Yeah, that's the Colchester one, isn't it? That. Trev.
Game. Derby. Oh, good ball. Super ball by John Thomas. What a good player Thomas is. Morgan plays the ball in for John Thomas. Thomas in a good position here. Thomas turns to Chandler. Jeff Chandler now turns the bar and crosses the ball in. Oh, super goal! Brilliant goal! Brilliant! Superb goal by Jeff Chandler. The lad just returned from Derby County. What a brilliantly taken goal!
So what do you reckon, Jeff? Some happy memories there, and there's some more pictures I found. I bet you've not seen a couple of them.
Well, it's funny. A lot have been put on, haven't they? By the fans. There's been quite a few on recently, and I said to Trace when I got these through, and then I got the shirt this week. The one with the caption "Action" above it in the Ben shirt. That's the shirt that you've got. You see the one with the guy trying to tackle me with it. I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
it's the
yeah,
left-hand
yeah.
corner.
On the Action shirt, yeah. On the Action
Yeah.
versus Crystal Palace, yeah.
There's a couple of pictures with that shirt that people have put on, that I've saved. Because in fairness, I don't have hardly any pictures really. I have a few, but obviously through the years, fans and programs and all that, and old Harry Maguire who used to give you a fiver to run towards him when you scored, so he got the picture for the band. Hey, I'm not kidding. I'm serious. That header at Wigan where I've run away towards there, Harry was sat down there, and then the game after we played Oxford at home and we beat them 1-0, and they were top of the league, I think. And Harry was behind the goal at the Normand end where Normand is, and he said, "If you score at this end, Jeff, you make sure you run towards me because I'll get the picture in the bend." Anyway, I scored, so that's me. I've run towards him with my hands up, but there's no fans there. It's just a brick wall. But I got a couple of pints out of it, so it was all right.
I have to say, in them days, your preparation for major cup. Well, it was a major cup final to us because it's the first time we'd been to one since '58. Well, not that I was there, of course. Eggy was there, but I weren't. And apparently your preparation was meticulous, weren't it, the night before the Freight Rover?
Well, you know me, Al. I heard about all this. I heard what was going on. So
I have heard you. Yeah,
I stayed in my bedroom, because I didn't want to give Phil any chance of dropping me with all that KP. You know what I mean? So
well, it's funny you should say that actually, because Trevor Morgan stayed in his bedroom as well.
I know. It's terrible what they got up to. In fairness, we had a laugh about that because the lads had a couple of beers and that, and they said, "What we'll do, we'll set up this picture for the gaffer for after, and if everything goes all right, we'll show him it." But yeah, there was a few of the lads did have a drink. To be fair, I didn't because I was quite nervous, to be playing at Wembley and that. And I behaved myself for once. Usually I'd have been first in the queue.
I'll tell you what I wanted to ask you before, and I forgot. Which stadiums did you play at with when you got capped?
We played, I don't know the name of the one we played in Czechoslovakia. I've no idea. But it was their national stadium. We played away in Prague. When we played in Ireland, I played at Daly Mount. It was Daly Mount they used to play at. And they always used to play in the afternoon because the Daly Mount didn't have floodlights. Because they moved to Lansdowne Road after that.
Yeah.
But the under-21 game was played at Tolka Park, which I think at the time was the home ground of Home Farm. So, yeah.
And then we move on to the big day. I think. Was this one of the highlights of your career? Because you won a few promotions as well, didn't you?
Yeah, but I think promotions through a season when you're playing in a season of 40, 42 or 46 games, depending on what league you were in, is over a season, and you had highlights and down times going through a season because it's a roller coaster. With Wembley, there's only one Wembley. It was the old Wembley that you watched on telly every year, once a year, one live game at Wembley, and that was it. And as a kid growing up, you used to go out and play in the pen we used to play in, pretending you were playing at Wembley, because everybody wanted to play at Wembley. And that's why I always sort of mention Phil in nice terms in respect of how he put aside our differences to give me that opportunity. Yeah. Because, I've said it before, would I have done that for him? I don't really know. And maybe I doubt it because, that's different people. But he picked me because I think he must have put football first. He knew Wembley it was a hot day. It was going to be a hot day. he knew I could play football, although
Yeah.
I wasn't the same player as I was before. But I played on the right-hand side. I linked up well with Brownie. I could pass the ball, keep the ball. And I think that's why he picked me, really. But it was a fantastic experience to be in them dressing rooms and walk out that tunnel that you'd seen, you know, the World Cup winners run out and all, you know, all the teams in between, you know, and since heroes that you know, you just looked up to, really. And it was good that it was the old ground.
It was same for us as well, mate. It was just a weekend. I mean, a weekend. It was an absolute weekend to remember. And as when I put that picture up of you before, and he said, "Oh, that's Colchester, that's Newport." I can remember every minute of that day from setting off.
Yeah.
From setting off.
It was a good day. It was a good day, and I know, you know, I might have got a slight deflection on my goal. But,
Slight?
Well, you know, whatever. I don't think it got a deflection personally. I mean, people have insinuated it got a deflection. I just think I you know, like in billiards when you hit one ball off another.
Yeah.
That's the picture I saw. I hit it off his leg.
Well, Trevor Morgan said he was running towards corner flag for pick ball up when he shot him.
Well, he would. He's just trying to. He's trying to take the glory because of his roly poly, isn't he? You know.
That's the one. Yeah. Anyway, I've got some memories of you. I've got some memories for you. Is your lass there with you, Trace?
She is. Yeah, she sat here.
Oh,
I've been drinking though.
She'll want to watch this then, because when you get off that court, you look like one cool dude. I'm telling you.
Oh. And agonisingly for Torquay, they go behind. Calville got away down the left. Morgan couldn't get in there. And here's Chandler, and this look for the shot, and it goes off Morrison. And beyond the screen of Kenny Allen. Well,
and the long-standing club record. Yeah, we must apologise for any movement in the pitches there, because there's so many standing up in the stand around us. It's causing the gantry to wobble, and the pitch is slightly. So apologies if there's any slight jumping on the. But here come the Torquay players now. A great round of applause from the who have helped the Devon club, and I'm sure these lads will savour the occasion just as we did in 1986. Beaten but not disgraced. Goal, Jeff. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, the ball dropped to me, I think, just inside the box, and I hit it in the far corner. It was going in, and the lad tried to block. He just directed it in the other corner, but you know, it was going in anyway, I'm sure.
Nice ones, yeah. The victorious Bolton Wanderers side.
Now let's go down the left in a lot of space here. That familiar style of his. Thomas. Chandler. Driven in.
I was going in. It was going in. I tell you, we're going in Twickenham on that, I think.
I'll tell you what, even the missus just said that was never going in.
And
I've seen that before.
have you not seen it, Tracy? No.
No.
It's oh God! Was Tracy at the game? Was she?
Yeah.
Tracy's dad, the brother, and all that. Yeah. I don't like seeing that goal. I tell you what, it was the most important day of my life, and I get a deflection. All the goals that I scored that were great goals, no bloody cameras there or nothing.
Wow! And there's your medal. What you got on the day, and that's the actual shirt, isn't it?
Yeah. It's funny as well, you see, because that shirt that's been in a drawer since that day.
Really?
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
No.
I think it's because I like I said before, when I finished playing, I'd had enough, and even my Island shirts didn't get put in the frame till 25 years after I'd played, because they were just all in the drawer, you know. But yeah, grandson might like it.
Well, like Kami, since you've got joint group and you've seen how much we think of you and what you think of us, I think it's giving you a bit of a buzz again, isn't it? To be fair,
definitely, yeah, definitely. Because what it does, you know, and talking like this, it brings back memories, you know, of things that happened and
yeah,
stories like, you know, like we were saying before about Trevor the night before the Wembley game. I can remember Stevie Thompson, Tomo. We used to room together, like, you know, when we played, and I remember his first ever game for Bolton was at Derby County away in about 1983, I think it was, and it was away from home. So Tomo was only a young lad, like, you know, and I said to him, "Listen, come and stay at my house in Bolton. I'll look after you. You'll be all right. We'll get down to Burnley, get the coach in the morning. We'll be fine." So he says, yeah, all right then, Jeff. So anyway, he stayed at my house. We sit down to have tea, and Tomo, you can see he's like quite worried about the game tomorrow, like, you know. So I said to him, "Listen," I said, "all good pros, what they do before a game, they have wine." So I said, "We'll have a few white wines and you'll be fine." He said, "No, I don't, Jeff. I don't drink. I can't drink before a game." I said, "No, Tomo, this is what proper bros do." So we had spaghetti bolognese and a load of wine. I give him a few glasses of wine. He slept like a log. We woke up the next morning. I said, "How do you feel?" He said, "Oh, brilliant." He said, "I slept like," I said, "I told you, that's what you do." But yeah, good lad, Tomo, great lad.
I tell you what, that freight well, we still got it on the screen. He was absolutely magnificent in that game. Magnificent.
He was a good player, Tomo. I tell you, I mean, he had a great career as it was. You know, I mean, I think he played like 600 games, maybe a bit more overall. But and he played at some good clubs, and he was always well thought of wherever he played. If he'd have had another yard and a half of pace or a yard of pace, he'd have been a well beater because his passing was fantastic. He ran the game when he played, you know. I mean, he still had, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from him. He had a great career. And it was just that little bit why the big clubs didn't take him, I think.
Wow.
Because he would have been out of play there.
I'm glad they didn't because he was class for us. I think he got man at match. I'm not remember rightly. He got man at match for that game. So
yeah, he did. He got man of the match at Wembley. Yeah.
And then you unfortunately you went again. What was it like because of lack of games, or were you thinking, well, coming to end of my career now, and then you went down to Wales to Cardiff?
Yeah, I think it got to the stage where we got promotion, and obviously I didn't get on that well with Phil. Again, my contract was up, and there's no way I was getting a new contract, you know. And I said to him, "Well, if you're not going to play me, give me a free transfer and I'll go." And he said, "No, I'm not giving you a free transfer." So I played in the reserves, and again, it was a game where we were playing at Port Vale in the reserves, and Cardiff came to watch me. I think they offered him some money next day. It was only 15 grand or something, and I went down to Cardiff. But you know, I shouldn't have gone really because my knee wasn't right. I wasn't the same player. Cardiff signed me. I think I'd had a decent game in that reserve game they watched me in. They decided to sign me. I went down there, but from day one, I got injury after injury, you know, and I think I only did about 10 months down there, I think, and I was living down there on my own because Trace came down for a while, but you know, came back up to Blackpool. I was down there staying. I lived with George Wood, the old goalkeeper, Georgie Wood, and I just went to see the manager because I'd done my knee again, and said, "Look, I'm going home. I've had enough," and that was it. Christmas 1990, I think it was. I just said, "I'm going home," and never went back.
Wow. Right. So we're obviously trying to improve our streams, and we're fetching a few new features in. Twiggy's jazzed all the quiz up. He's done a fantastic job. He's worked very hard on it this week. But we've got a few questions for you now. We're going to have a few questions. The lads have been sending them in. So he's one of our admins, Gibby. And Gibby actually, the Freight Rover. It was his honeymoon. They got married on the Saturday and went down for the Freight Rover. So anyway, this is quick.
I was just going to say, what you can't moan being taken to London for honeymoon. It's not bad, is it?
Absolutely. Kath were a bigger fan than him. Anyway, here we go.
Hi, Jeff. Hope you and your family are okay. My question is, how did you prepare for life after football? Did you find it very hard, or was you prepared for it? Thank you.
Well, that's a good question, really, because this is the side that once you've left the game, you don't think about it very much, But I left the game with no school qualifications because I left school. I didn't take any exams because I knew I had an apprenticeship at Blackpool. Thought football was the only thing that ever happened to you. So when I left football, I did a few different jobs, selling advertising, selling double glazing. Couldn't sell anything, even though you'd think I could with all the patter. I was rubbish. And then basically I couldn't lie to people. I couldn't start a price up here and come down here and all that. So I ended up, I got a job working in a children's care home. And my manager there said to me, why don't you go and get a qualification that'll help you in your future and if you want to stay in childcare? So I got qualified as a counsellor, and I did childcare for about altogether probably 12 years or so, 10 years. Then I moved on to youth offending team in Preston, and then the job I've just retired from as a pupil welfare officer, and it's probably 30 odd years of work, and no one can prepare you for it. I was just fortunate that when I first got into this line of work, I got in on my name. They wanted me to be working with the kids because I played football, and I could converse with the kids about football, and I had commonalities with them, and they might look up to me and take notice. And that's how I got in. And I have to say, out of all the things we've discussed about me being a footballer and maybe me saying I've had a bad attitude in football, wasn't always thinking about the team because I'm selfish and was selfish. What all that did and what managers told me and tried to drum into me, I took into life after football. And now, since I've been in normal work, I'm one of the hardest working people they have. I do everything right, and I don't take prisoners when people don't pull their weight. And I just wish I could have done that when I played football, because that's when it needed to be. I won't even have a drink the night before I work because I can't perform at work, because it's not right. And all those qualities that those managers and older professionals and teammates either tried to put into me or they had that I saw, I've brought with me, and that's how I am today. I give it 100% when I'm working, because you have to. I don't cut corners, and that's the best thing I can say that football did for me, because it taught me you only get out what you put in. If you put it in, people give you respect, and that's the jobs that I've had, the managers I've had, I've got on with like house on fire, because they know they don't have to follow me, they don't have to check my work, they know I'm going to do it right. And I'm proud of that. I'm probably I'm more proud of that than I am football, because it was harder for me to do.
We're all kids, though, Jeff, aren't we? You like they say, the old saying goes, it's lessons in life, pal, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. And I don't, I'm not moaning about it, because it was they were my actions, my decisions, and I take full responsibility for them. But now I'm just glad that all those things, and Arthur Cox once said to me, and a lot of managers use the terminology, one day the penny will drop, and you just got to hope it drops soon, Jeff, because if it doesn't, your career will be finished and you'll regret it. And I think a lot of the pushing football away when I first finished, and for a few years, was about regret of not using the ability I had to the best I could have done, because although I still had a reasonable career, I think I should have been playing at a higher level if I'd have applied myself in the proper manner like Reedy did and people like that.
But You did well, really. In fairness, I mean, when you left football, I mean, you got quite a few qualifications, didn't you? And you still played a bit. You played for Wren Rovers, didn't you, in Blackpool at centre half? I think
did,
it was.
Yeah, I did. It's funny actually, because when I finished at Cardiff, the doctor said to me, "You're not going to be able to do anything running wise for about 18 months or so." Anyway, I'd finished playing and I'd been out of the game for a bit, and two lads called Brian Wilson and Stuart Parker, they were manager and assistant at Wren Rovers, and they're ex-Blackpool players that I played with when I was younger. And they said to me, "Why don't you come down and do a bit of training, join in and get yourself running about, So I did that. And it was pre-season, and they had a couple of pre-season friendlies, and they said to me, why don't you go on and have half an hour, because you can play, you read the game." So I went on, and he put me on as a centre-half sweeper, and I had a great game. I just, because I could read the game and that, and I wasn't bad in the air for me height, and I played well. And Brian said to me, "Why don't you sign, Jeff? You could play there for the next 5 years." So I signed for him, and in fairness, I only played about 18 months because I kept pulling my hamstring and my calf because I was old, and that, their legs go, don't they? So,
Yeah.
but I loved it. I loved playing at Wren's because you weren't getting paid, you weren't playing for money, you were playing for the love of it. And the lads you were playing with were 100%ers every single week, and they loved it. They're good friends. They partied hard, but they played hard as well.
Superb. Right, as I say, we've started some new features, and hopefully everybody's enjoying the streams. I certainly am. So right, here we go. We've got some questions for you, some video questions. Do you recognise this fella?
Jesus Christ! Is he just come out of prison?
Obviously, with the boy band, there was one of the players who decided to be the self-proclaimed tour manager. Can you remember what his posh name was? Then obviously you'll break it down to what it was. Okay, mate. Hope you well. Speak soon. Take care.
So there you go. He's on about the Manx Trophy there, by the way.
And if we had an entertainment manager or tour manager, it's got to be someone like Brownie or someone like that, I would have thought. But I can't remember. Jeez, we drank a lot in them days.
It was Savo.
Was it Sav?
Either Dave says it were either Sav or himself, and the name that they gave the cell was Richard Cranium, and he told you to break it down. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, it's Dickhead. But there you go. Anyway, so here's your next one. You love her. You love her. Your second wife.
Yeah.
Gaza.
Good evening, Mr. Chandler. Going back to the said Manx tour in the Isle of Man. Can you name two of the other teams actually played in the competition at the time? Your mind might be very, very hazy because you was drunk a lot of that time on that trip.
I can remember being drunk better than I can remember the bleeding games. Because to be fair, and this is where I used to get in trouble, you see, because we'd all been out having a drink in an afternoon, and we had a few, we'd playing snooker, brownie and all that, and we leathered it. We went back to the hotel, and one or two of the lads had made a bit of a noise, and it wasn't me. I was in a room with Tomo. We were in the room, laid on the bed, comatose, but somebody had made a load of noise. And Phil Neal, the first door he knocked on was mine. Because obviously he thinks it's me. So he came in the room, and I remembered Tomo was steaming, I was steaming. And I went to get off the bed to say so it won't bleeding me, and I fell over on the floor. And I couldn't get up. And Tomo was laughing but Phil Neal loved Tomo. And it was nothing. He didn't blame Tomo for anything. All it was Chandler, you're a disgrace. You shouldn't even be here. And I hadn't done anything wrong. And the lads, they were laughing their heads off, like, because, you know, obviously I got the blame for something someone else is doing, you know. And that's probably why Phil hated me. But there you go. I don't blame him. But I can't remember the other teams. I'm just trying to think. Dear me, it's a long time ago that. I remember watching.
I know. I remember we played in final. I remember we played in final because we were sat behind Norman Wisdom because he lived at Isle of Man. Do you remember?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Mm.
I can't, you know, I haven't got the foggiest idea.
Sunderland were one.
Who was it? Was it?
Sunderland were one.
Christ.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I've never got that.
Well,
No.
Preston not there, Al.
Preston. It could have been. Could have been Preston, yeah.
To me, I was going to guess Preston because I thought they might have been one, but I wasn't sure. But, you know, it's a long time ago. And like Gaz said, there was a lot that went on that tour.
Yeah. Anyway, next question is from a top lad. He's a lovely man, this fella. Absolutely. Heart of gold. And as you can see at the top, it says take one. So he's obviously, I've asked him to do this and his wife's doing it. So here's take one. Here's take two.
It sounds like us.
And here's take three.
Good evening to everyone at the Bolton Wanderers Remembrance Group, everyone out there listening in, and especially to you, Mr. Jeff Chandler. I haven't got a memory or a question as such. After listening to Gary Henshaw and Robbie Savage talking about drink, Jeff, I think you've got a drink problem, mate. And it's talking about a drink that is what I remember about you mainly. That's sad, that really, isn't it, when you think you're a good footballer. But remember my daughter's christening, Hayley. And you come down with all the players and all the wives. You weren't supposed to be drinking that day. Something very important was happening the next day. I'd like to hear it from yourself. I've heard it from you about 2-3 years ago, but I loved it. And I'd like to hear it from yourself again, Jeff. So please, you know, tell everyone what happened that day. And then hopefully soon, when we get invited off Alan Hall's committee, when it's all open, we'll do them proud. We'll come up, we'll have a good drink, a good sing-song, and let's enjoy ourselves. Cheers, Jeff. Wish you all the best and everyone. Thank you.
Jamie.
Spill the beans then. Come on, you're not getting out of it.
Well, I don't know whether it's the drink that's done this or I'm getting old, but I can't remember. I remember going to the do because we went down to Winsford, I think it was. And again, it's one of them where you're all there and I just didn't know when to stop. That was the problem.
Well, the thing is, from what Kami were telling me was you was due a major operation the day after. And Tracy were going mad at you for getting pissed. To drag you to the car or something.
Yeah, that would have been me cruciate when I'd done me cruciate. That would have been.
Yeah.
I knew I wouldn't be having a drink for a bit because I was in hospital, wasn't I? So I'm just making up for it.
Anyway, that's hopefully you all like that new feature. I certainly enjoyed it, seeing all the lads on. If you want to send in, anybody can do it. Anybody on the group wants to send a video question, anything like that, feel free. We advertise the week before who's coming on. Send us a question in. Even if not a question, just a comment, and we'll stick it on. Right, let's go through a few admins.
Got your good wife sat at the side here. Obviously, we're now in an era of Sky and what have you, and football, and money's moved on and what have you. To your good wife or what have you, what was it like, as they call a wag back in the days?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, she won't. Just speak. Just speak.
I can't remember any of it.
Well, the funny thing is, Darren, is she hates football.
Right.
I think she's probably seen me play half a dozen times in my career, because if she did come to a game, she used to stay in the players' lounge or whatever it was, with the other wives and the kids playing and all that. So she never watched me, never watched.
Or at the back of the stand.
Yeah.
The reason I said that is, Jeff, is just the reason I said that is obviously the upheaval of your family and stuff like that, from moving from club to club to club. People sometimes don't understand the effect that it has on, obviously, the family outside life of moving about from, from your Boltons to your Derbies to your Leeds, etc., etc.
I think the only good thing about that was that our kids, certainly Katie, we had Katie when we moved from Bolton to Derby, and she was only 9 months old, so we didn't have any issues around school and stuff like that. When we came back to Bolton, which would have been 87, she was only 3. She was in nursery, and we lived in Blackpool, so I used to travel over with Tomo every day. So it wasn't so much that was a problem for us. I could imagine it would be if you've got kids in primary school and secondary school, it'd be a bloody nightmare. But on the side of moving away from your friends, the one good thing about football and football clubs is that when you move to a new club, you've immediately, as a player, you've got friends. So you get the wife involved, like I say, coming down to the players' lounge, getting involved with the other girls, and sort of meeting them, and then at least they've got some friends down there. But children-wise, I'm just glad that my kids were, weren't in school to be shifted again and shifted again, like you say. Nowadays, you bloody hell, they move quite often, don't they? That's the good thing. It's like you guys. We might have been, as players, our own little community, but the fans are the same. And the good thing back in them days was, after the game, we used to go across to the King Bill, and have a drink, and fans would be in there, and you'd have a chat with them about the game, and you got a bit of stick if you'd had a nightmare, or they'd want to buy you a pint if you'd won and played well, and that's how it should be. But
right, young Kelby, anything?
Hi, Jeff. I'm just looking through your stat. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm just looking through your stats this morning, looking at your international career, which we briefly touched on. I was just wondering if you thought you had more to offer on that, or if you did, was there any grudges with the management at the time on the international stage?
Well, no, I never, in fairness, went international games. You never fell out because you all met up as a squad. The manager picked the team, and one sub in them days, and the rest of you watched. That's how it was. It wasn't like any falling out, really. You didn't have time to. You're only there for a few days. But I am a bit sort of, when I look back, I think my time at Bolton, when I scored the 17 goals and the 20 goals in the 2 seasons I was there, and then the season after I scored 16 at Derby, I thought I might have had a chance of getting back in the squad, because at the time, I think it was, if you remember him, Eamon O'Keefe, who used to play at Wigan. He went to Everton and he was getting picked. Eamon was scoring goals at Wigan. I was scoring goals at Bolton. And at the time, the manager was a guy called Owen Hand. He followed on from Johnny Giles. And he preferred Eamon to myself because we played similar positions. But, I felt with the goals I was scoring and I was performing quite well consistently, that I might have got, more of a chance. But that's life, isn't it? That's how things go sometimes, That's managers.
Okay, Twiggy, take it away.
Well, there's probably, I've asked this before, Jeff. Do you know when the season when yourself, Tony Caldwell and George Garney, you all got 20 plus goals, didn't you, in that season? And we were nowhere near any promote. Well, we didn't get promoted. But you think in today's game, 20 odd goals for a player, you'd be top of the league with one player on that. But for 3 players, it was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think I've said before, we we scored, I think it was something like 64, 65 goals between us, you know, which is unbelievable, really, for front three players.
Definitely.
And you'd look at that in the cold light of day. We finished about 10th or 12th or somewhere around that in the league. So the first thing you think about is you look at your defence, don't you? But, you know, you defend from the front. We're all part of the team. We all defend, you know, or should do. I can't say I defended very well in any day I played, but, you know, it's a team game and you finish up where you deserve to finish up. And scoring those goals, like Tony, I think in that season scored 5 in one game, and you know maybe a couple of 2 here, 2 there, 2 there, and they add up. It's not always spread across the whole season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I scored in that season. I think I scored a couple of times, twice. So it's not always, you know, you win 8-1 against Walsall and someone scores 5. It's a big bonus in your pocket for your goal tally, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
You know,
definitely, yeah.
So really, I think you know we had a great season, the three of us, as far as scoring goals. But as a team, and three of us were part of that team. We finished 10th or 12th or something, and we're all part of that. So you know that's how good we were that season. Over my career, roughly, I think I scored about 1 every 5 games. You know, including cup games. I think I played about 320, 30 or 40 games, and I scored 1 every 5 games, which for a winger is good, you know?
Yeah.
Right, Mr. Egg, take it away.
Hey, Jeff. If you went on a sportsman's dinner, what other than football or any other sport that you fancy, that you like, if you went on a sportsman's dinner and you could take 3 of your best mates or 3 people with you, who would you take and who would you love to see, past or present?
I think because of when I was a kid and watching QPR, I think I'd like to sit with Stan Bowles, because I was lucky enough to meet him a few times when I was a kid, like I say, because the youth club I played for was across the road from the ground, and him and his pal Don Shanks, who were big gamblers together, they knew the manager of our youth club, so they joined in a couple of 5-a-sides with us odd times, you know. So, but the people I'd take with me, I think I'd just, I think you'd have to take some characters who you could have a drink with, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
So, you know, I'll take Trevor Moore. I'll take Trevor Moore because he can drink a lot, and I'd probably. And I think, mind you, I was going to say Brownie, but Steve Tomo's got a great sense of humour. He's a, you know, I see Steve now and again here, and we have a great lad. He's a funny lad. Real diamond. So I think I'd take Tomo with me as well.
Brilliant. Superb. Right, well, we've got another quick video question for you. I think you can see who it is. All the way from Perth.
Trevor.
What a star man he is. What a lovely man he is. He really is.
Yeah, he is. Top man.
Hello, Al. I've got a question for Jeff. I'm sure we'll be able to give a good answer to it. My question is, Jeff, just wanted to know what you've done with those white pants you had on outside my house that day in Blackburn. We wouldn't let you in. It'd be an interesting story if you could tell them what had happened to them. Cheers, mate.
Had I been drinking again?
Probably.
You know, my memory's not good, is it? I have not got a foggiest idea.
Right. Well, I'll get the answer off him.
If you would,
later on when I speak to him, and I'll post it on the group. Right, JT won't come on, as you know. John's bloody dead shy. So, just people to go on. If there's any lads out there who's got John asks me every week for this, but the last away game before we played in the Sherpa was against Northampton, and we were losing 2-0 and we won 3-2. And JT's after his goal. So if anybody's got that out there, send it to me. I'll pass it on to him. I'll tell him who sent it me, etc., etc. So John asks, who's this with him in the picture?
Oh dear me.
Hang on, I'll give you another one.
Where's my glasses? Jesus Christ. Let me get my glasses on. There. Come on, Trace. You're not.
I'm your personal assistant tonight.
I tell you what. I tell you what. She's no pace. Bloody hell. No, it's not. I thought it looked like Warwick Rimmer there, but it's not.
No, it's not Warwick Rimmer.
No. I don't know.
Roy Greaves.
Is it Roy Greaves?
Yeah.
Mind you, he looks younger than Bleeding John.
Right, so this is another news section. We've got our online reporter who's been watching all the comments and questions, etc., etc. So I'll hand it over to Aggie. Here we go.
Hey Jeff.
Hi Aggie.
Hey Jeff. We've got obviously we've been live on Facebook all night on live stream and on YouTube. Many of the questions have come up before we went live. I've got one or two while we've been on live, but question here from Paul Smith. Everybody will always remember our famous Great Escapes versus Forest when Wilbraham scored and there was a cliffhanger season in the Prem under Megson, plus a couple of close shaves in our early Prem years under Big Sam, including beating Borough on the last day to survive at West Ham's expense. What does Jeff remember about his and BWFC's Great Escape in 81-82? We looked doomed to Division 3 after a 7-1 defeat at QPR on their horrible plastic pitch. Then in the penultimate game of the season, we won dramatically 3-2 at home to Derby before an unlikely 3-1 home win v promotion chasing Sheffield on a fraught final Saturday of the season. Jeff scored one of the goals on that day. A few days later, we'd officially survived when Cardiff lost at home to Luton. Jeff was part and parcel of that team. What can he remember about those dramatic days in spring '82? That's a fair question, that, Jeff. That's a fair, well scripted question.
In fairness, I do remember it actually because I remember the Sheffield went well. I remember the QPR game getting beat 7-1 because I always wanted to play at QPR because, like I say, I was a big fan of QPR and I never played there. And we went down and played on that bleeding plastic, which was a nightmare. We got beat 7-1. I don't think I had 2 kicks. My mum would come and everything, and I had to go and face him in the bar after 7-1. But then we beat Derby 3-2, and I don't remember an awful lot about that game. But the Sheffield Wednesday game, I remember we had to win to have any chance of staying up. And I remember lining up for the kickoff to this day, and I think they had Terry Curran on the right wing, who was a good player, Terry.
Right.
And I remember, saying to him, Terry, for Christ's sake, don't be doing anything today, mate. We need this, But as it happens, we went out. I think they might have even scored first. I can't remember. They might have scored first, but we went out, and in fact, we won 3-1, and we played well, And like you said, we had to wait a few days before we were safe.
Yeah.
But the feeling of that, as you can imagine, for fans, it's a nightmare. For us, it was a nightmare. In that season, we had a good team. We had some good players at that time. But managed to survive. And I had a similar feeling, like you mentioned, the game where Big Sam kept us up and the team kept us up against Middlesbrough. I was at that game as a spectator.
Oh,
and it was fantastic day that was.
Fantastic,
It's just a feeling of relief, isn't it? That
of course it is.
You haven't. It's almost like you've won promotion, but you haven't. You've just survived. But it
You've
feels
survived.
like absolutely,
Another question here from one of our admin's wives, Anne Marie.
Yeah.
What era, if you could have your time over again, what era would you have loved to have played in? And what team would you have loved to have played for?
I think
bit of a difficult one, that.
Yeah, it is, because I think given the pitches they have now,
yeah,
and all the other side of the game, the psychology and all that, and the way they live their lives, I would like to test myself in today's game because of not being able to be booted all around the pitch by a fullback and stuff like that,
No.
And I'd like to play for. I think I'd like to play at this moment in time for like Man City or Liverpool.
Yeah.
The way they play. If you went back in time to sort of, the late 70s, 80s, I would say I'd like to play for the Liverpool side of them, where they had the Dalglishs and Rushes.
Yeah.
They played football a great way, one-touch football, movement off the ball, the way the game should be played, basically, and they all worked hard, because you don't get anything without working hard. So they're the sort of teams that I would like to play for, as far as the players, there's a lot of players who were good players, and I'd like to play with people like Glenn Hoddle, and play people like that.
Yeah.
But but Bolton, when you look at Bolton and the players they had, you had your Peter Reeds, your Neil Watmores, Frank Worthingtons, Peter Thompsons, Willie Morgans, all these players, and a lot more that I haven't mentioned, who were stars and had a lot of ability, and were exciting to watch because they got forward, they scored goals, and you, like Big Roy Greaves there, we just mentioned before, up and down in midfield, winning the ball and giving it to players who could play. And what that was about, not Roy was a lesser player, but Roy knew who could play, and he gave them the ball. He got the ball and he gave it them. He didn't think he was better than them. He thought they were better than him. You have it because you can do this job better than me, but you can't win it like me. And that's knowing your job, Yeah.
Of course it is, yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, well, that's it from the Facebook pages and YouTube pages. Thanks for that, Jeff. Yeah.
No problem, mate. No problem.
Back to Alan.
Well done, Stevie. That was superb, that, mate. Thank you very much. Right, it's the time to bring in Twigster the Quizster. Hey, I'll tell you what, Twiggy, they're becoming a bit like cult things. These, you've got all the players being competitive against one another and everything. Fair play to you. Right, here we go.
You've got a choice to stick with your 7 or have a quiz again.
Oh, I'm going to gamble. You've got to gamble, ain't you? It's a bit of fun. Go on.
So we'll go again. But just let me tell you, it's not the same questions. Admins to ask, so you didn't have that originally. And
no, exactly.
Yeah, I've had a bit of grief off that, so I've had to revamp it. So so you got there's two admin questions you can ask them. So right, we'll kick off.
Yeah.
Right, are you ready?
Yeah. No, I'll ask Aggie. I've given him time to get his phone.
Aggie. He's probably got Alexa. He's cuddling Alexa at the minute.
Alexa. Oh, so no.
Right, go on, Aggie.
No, I've not got Alexa. I've got Muffin. Listen. Let's get Jeff off to a good start.
Go on then.
Right. Question number 1. Whose nickname is the Brewers? Whose nickname is the Brewers?
I don't know it, so I'm going to have to ask an admin. I don't want to.
I can see us being set up for one of these soon. So I'm going to go with. You don't have to take my answer, Jeff.
Right.
You don't have to take my answer, but I'm going to. Yeah. The Brewers. I would say it's definitely something to do with brewing. I would go with.
Get it on. Come on.
Burton Albion.
Yeah, I'll have that.
It's up to you,
mate.
Bit of a steward's inquiry, I think you were Googling then, but yeah, Burton Albion's right. Right, question number 2, Jeff. Who plays at the Kassam Stadium?
Oxford.
Yeah. Right, question number 3. Name 3 former Bolton players who have managed Blackpool.
Sam Allardyce, Sam, and
No.
maybe Brownie did caretaker. I can't.
It's Colin Hendry and Neil MacDonald.
Right, I wouldn't have got Neil.
No.
No.
Right, question number 4. Right, how did Nat Lofthouse obtain his nickname of the Lion of Vienna?
Knocking a goalkeeper in the net.
No, that was a 58 Cup final. That he got the nickname because he scored twice for England in a dramatic 3-2 win in Austria. Number 5. What nationality is Yuri Georgiev?
French.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah. Right. Question number 6. Name the Bolton outfield player who took over in goal in a Division 3 match away at Rotherham in 1984.
Jerry McElhinney?
No. Wayne Foster.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but I mean, I think... Right, so question number 7.
Hey, Jeff. Rob Saville. Hope you and your family are okay. Just got a little question for you for tonight's quiz, if you like, of Twiggy. We went on tour to the Isle of Man and we were in a hotel, which wasn't very pleasant. We couldn't drink. There was lots of old age pensioners in there, so we decided to make a quartet up of players to sing a few songs. Can you name the players? One was a fullback, he used to go down like an armchair. The other was a centre forward who supposedly looked like one of the Buddhas from Bros. The other was a winger who seemed to shin it all the time down the line. And the other one was a little left-sided midfield player. Can you name them? There you go.
Right, so it's got to be Sav. He's in it, isn't he?
To be honest, I've not got the answers.
All right. So right, I'm going to go with the one. I'm going to go with the Bros haircut. Is going to be it's either Reevesy or Philliskirt. It's one of them two. Brownie's one of them. Philliskirt. And
Right. I'll tell you what.
Go on.
I'm going to give you the point. Right. Question number 8. How many First Division Championship medals did Phil Neal win for Liverpool?
10.
There's a madman waving.
I'll ask Al. I've got what I think it is, but I'm going to ask Al because I think he'd have had time to look it up by now. Alexa.
Alexa, it was 6.
Yeah. To be fair, I was going to say 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
6.
Give you that. I think Alexa just come on in Al's background then, but he went like that. He said 6. So yeah, you've got that. It was 6. Yeah. Right. So finally, question number 10. In what year did Bolton first produce shirt squad numbers?
I'm going to say 1997.
Ooh, 95, 96.
Oh, dear.
You've given up your top spot. You were 7 out of 10, but you've now got 5 out of 10.
Jesus Christ.
What we're going to be doing each week, we're going to be having an admin on because all the players are saying, how come none of the admins have a go at these bloody quizzes? So each week now we're going to add an admin, and the admin that Twiggy's chosen this week is Mr. Egg. Good luck.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice
so
one.
Eggy,
nice one, Twiggy.
On question number 1. In the 1990s, what season did Bolton record a club record of 23 league games without defeat? I don't know, just give me the season.
I'm going 97.
No, 99.
I'm going for Anelka.
No, Campo.
Oh, I'll go and say Campo first.
Ivan Campo. Hang on. Question number 4. Who scored? Oh, sorry. Question number 4. Can you name the Frenchman who joined Bolton in 1999?
Jokiev.
Nope. Stinker this, Steve. Frank Passy. Question number 5. Who scored Bolton's first ever goal in Europe?
Sorry, mate. Gerard Baguetti.
Ooh, what? You can either go for that, Steve, or you take your own.
No, I'm going for it. Baguetti.
No. All right, question number 6. Name the Finnish player who signed for Bolton in 1994.
Jaskalainen.
Who?
Jaskalainen.
Nope. Mixu Patalainen.
Oh, I'm going to say Mixu as well.
Right, so question number 7. We have a special question for you, Steve.
Right.
5 English clubs that Phil Brown's managed.
5 English clubs. Oh, well, this could get me off the mark then. So, do I get a point? Do I get a point per club?
You've got to get all 5 for 1 point.
You're joking?
Yeah, because I've had a bit of grief, because Gary Henshaw's quiz, he had to name 6 founder members of the Football League. And for all 6, he only got 1 point.
Phil Brown?
So, yeah, 5 English clubs.
Surely to God, I'll get at least 2, 2.5. Right.
No.
Obviously, Bolton.
Nope.
Derby.
Bolton skirt it. Derby, yeah.
Preston.
Looking at Google.
Preston.
5, 4, 3,
Safe
2, 1. You're down, so you're wrong.
Oh.
Question number 8. Who played in goal for Bolton in the playoff final against Preston in 2001? Shilton. Is that your answer? Is that your answer?
No, Brannigan.
Matt Clark. Number 10. When Bolton signed Freddie Bobic on loan.
Freddie Bobic.
In 2002, which club did he sign from?
In
I'll
Allen.
give you a clue.
What?
Right.
Freddie Bobic. Germany.
Yeah, Dortmund.
Yeah,
Dortmund.
I'm having Dortmund.
Right. Does any other admins want to chuck in?
Why is it not right? Darren?
What do you reckon, Daz?
Freddie Bobic.
Probably a bit of a clue, that, Steve, whether I was right or wrong there.
I don't think it's Dortmund. I think it's somebody like Freiburg or somebody like that. I know it probably sounds stupid, but
Dortmund.
Sure.
Dortmund. Final answer.
Final answer. Right, I tell you what, I'll just ask you an answer, a straight answer, yes or no.
Yes.
Yeah, you got it right, Dortmund. So you're 2 out of 10, Steve.
Right, Jeff, we'll get through these and then we're not taking one at a time. I'll put a couple of your heroes on, though. We'll just go back through a few memories.
Yeah, I just I put them there because obviously playing, I was lucky enough to get to know people like Reedy and Brian Robson, and I played at Leeds with Eddie, and that's a picture of us about 3 or 4 years ago. He did a after dinner speak in St Anne's near Blackpool. Fabulous guy, and then the other one is the King of Bloomfield Road, as they called him, Alan Suddick, who was sort of one of your first midfielders, elegant midfielders who could bend a ball and take good free kicks that bent in the top corner and that. So lovely people.
Brilliant. And I believe that you and Tracy have set your own entertainment agency up. Is that correct?
Well, when I can. In fairness, the one with Tracy and me is Lockdown.
Oh, do you mean? You mean this one, dear?
Oh, that's a work. That was a works do at the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool about 3 years ago. I think it looked like I needed a toilet.
But it runs in the family, doesn't it? This entertaining. It's fantastic.
But you know you're a fool. You're never gonna win. Your mentality, escape from reality.
Elton John taught me when he presented the medals, you know, at Wembley. When we
Oh,
played
yeah.
at Wembley,
Yeah.
Elton, he said to me, come back to mine. He taught me this, so I said, I'll do it at home for the family.
All right.
I remember when I was young, me and Susie had so much fun. And now I'm years old. I don't know what's gonna change until the blessed come.
Oh, there you go. Huh? Bolton away. And when you asked that question before about how you'd like to play, somebody asked you about ears and stuff. I'll be perfectly honest, you know, on these pitches and these teams, the quality of the passing, etc. I think you'd make it today. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I think I would. To be fair, and that's not being big-headed. It's just I think the facilities, the pitches, and the no tackling from behind and all that would suit me.
Yeah, I do as well. Well, we got this from Front Park with your grandson.
Oh, hey.
Quick.
Have it?
It did the
Brilliant.
thing. Trace just said she was just filming that with my grandson, and when I hit that against the fence in the little kickabout place, it nearly knocked her head off.
Talking of Trace, they are still together today, and congratulations on that. And there's your wedding day and a few pictures for you.
Yeah, it's I think it's 39 years this year.
Well, congratulations.
Left for murder.
Yeah, get left for murder. Yeah. But there's the two girls, and then my youngest daughter with my grandson. He's 10 now. That one.
Wow.
He was a little in there.
There's a bit of a compilation for you. Brilliant.
I don't think he really gets that I play because there's not a lot of footage to show him and stuff. You know, I don't think he really gets that I played properly.
Wow. And that's your two daughters, is it, with Tracy and Dog?
Yeah. That's the top left or right, as you might be looking at, is my daughter getting married. And yeah, that's the three of them together there one Christmas. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And that's
Fantastic.
family members down the bottom with the dog. That's my brother-in-law, who was a gamekeeper for the Duke of Westminster up in Abisted. Yeah, he's had a good life. He's taken the Queen out and bloody Prince William and Philip and all of them.
Wow.
He's a big Leeds fan, him. Never mind.
It's not equal. We all fall on our heads when we're little, don't we? There's a few more.
Yes, some good times. Where'd you get all these photos?
Tracy sent them to me.
They on Facebook. Oh, they'll be on. They'll be on Facebook.
The domestic now.
And here we have your present day, and there you are with your little mate there, all dappered up like his granddad.
Yeah, that's a little lolly boy. Yeah, He's not bad actually. He's improved a lot playing football. To be fair, I didn't think he had the sniff of kicking a ball straight, let alone anything. But he's really improved when he got involved in the team.
He thinks he's Paddington.
Superb.
Yeah.
Be a proud day if he makes it as a pro, won't he? It'd be brilliant for you, that.
Well, it's. I just want him to. I want him to just get involved and it helps keep him fit and agile and running around and enjoying something.
Yeah.
That's all you want from it, really. And if it goes any further, that's brilliant. But I wouldn't pressure him. I wouldn't want him getting involved in academies or anything like that. Not too young, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an absolutely honour and a privilege. It is every time I talk to you because you're such a lovely man and you've got a lovely family there. As it says on the picture, you're an absolute legend to us lads, and the way you've looked after the group and that shirt donation, it just shows what kind of a man you are. You're a star. All the players, ex-players love you.
Yeah.
So thank you very, very much indeed. We look forward to getting you on a Q&A, as you know, and we'll look forward to getting you to our main event where we'll send you some tickets for you and Tracy. We'll sort you a room out at Bolton White's and you could come have a night with us. So thanks very much. Darren?
No.
Hello, are you there?
Yeah, we're here. We've been here all night, Darren.
From my perspective, brilliant, Jeff. Trust me, absolute legend in my era, growing up at 8, 9, 10-year-old. All right, don't get me wrong, I've watched legends with Big Sam thereafter, but sitting down and reminiscing about you guys and what have you that I used to watch growing up at Burnden Park is obviously, from my perspective, immense. I thank Alan, Iggy, Twiggy, what have you, for getting me involved in this group. Otherwise, I'd never be a part of it. Brilliant, mate. Keep doing what you're doing. And respect to all you guys that are administrators. And hopefully we can get more people on this feed and obviously make it the success that it is. Cheers, Jeff.
Cheers.
Nice one, Darren.
Cheers, Darren.
Thanks, pal.
You'll always be part of this group, by the way. You're not. No, you'll always be part of it. You do a lot for us. Lotto's just been won as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
504 quid. So if you want to join, look Darren up on Facebook, go on his page, and you'll sort it out for him, won't you, Darren?
Of course I will, mate. Not a problem. Message me anytime.
But you'll always be part of this group, pal. Oh, you and Anne-Marie. Right, Twigster, finish it up.
Right, Jeff. Obviously you're my hero from being a kid. Obviously when I seen you on the park and everything with Peter Reid, superb. I always love you to bits, and to be actually talking to you today, and a live stream, it'd have been a dream come true if anybody said that when I was 11-year-old. But yeah, such an honour and a privilege to speak to you, Jeff. You're a legend, and you always will be. All the best, mate. You to your family, superb. Appreciate it.
All right, Jeff. Thanks again, pal. Anything you want to say before we sign off?
Yeah, just to say, thanks very much for all the kind words, because you don't hear it so often these days. And when you talk about the lads that have been on, and saying that we're legends and all that, what you got to remember as well is the job you guys are doing is legendary, and it's fantastic what you do. Keep doing it. And also, without you guys stood on the terraces, we wouldn't be anything anyway. So it's not about legends; it's about everyone the same thing and wanting success for the team, And they're turning things around. They're heading in the right direction. So let's hope it continues.
Appreciate that, Jeff. It's good to hear that. Spot on.
Brilliant. Well, you're a legend, brother, and God bless you. Stay safe, and we'll speak to you soon.
Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts some days, but everything gon' be alright. Go raise a glass and say, here's to the ones that we got, oh. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not, cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today, toast to the ones that we lost on the way, cause the drinks bring back all the memories. Memories bring back, memories bring